Running a hotel was more than just a job for me. It was my passion and my entire existence. My name is Stephanie, and this hotel was my domain until he arrived. His presence was striking. A young man dressed in an expensive suit, his attention fixed on a high-end smartphone. He checked in with a dazzling smile. "Good evening, I'm Walter," he greeted me with a voice as smooth as velvet. "I'm here for a few nights. Is there anything interesting going on around here?" His charm was unexpected, and I found myself smiling back at him. "Well, Walter, the city is full of wonders. It depends on what you're interested in," I answered, handing him his room key. Our conversation was short, but it ignited something within me. Perhaps it was his genuine interest or the way he engaged so earnestly when I spoke. His stay was brief, but upon checking out, he left a note. "Enjoyed our talk. How about continuing it over dinner?" it read. I hesitated, not used to blending my professional life with personal pursuits, but something was compelling about him. We met at a quaint local restaurant, a spot where the ambient chatter and the clinking of glasses created a cozy bubble. "You know this place well, don't you, Stephanie?" he remarked, smiling as we took our seats. I laughed, feeling surprisingly relaxed. "I guess you could say I've had some practice," I responded. Dinner flew by as we delved into discussions about everything from trivial day-to-day joys to profound life experiences. He was surprisingly open, sharing stories of his travels and business ventures. As the conversation shifted towards me, I found myself sharing more than usual. I spoke about the loss of my parents and how it had been just me and my sister Amy against the world since I was 23. "That's a heavy burden to bear, Stephanie. You must be incredibly strong," he observed, his eyes reflecting a mix of admiration and an indescribable depth. I shrugged off the compliment, saying, "We all play the hand we're dealt, right? Amy has been my priority. Our parents left us a little something, and I've been careful with it, helping it grow bit by bit." He nodded, his expression thoughtful. "That's impressive. You've got a good head on your shoulders," he complimented. As the night progressed, I realized how much I had been laughing, a rarity for me in recent times. But whenever I tried to learn more about his own family, he would skillfully steer the conversation away. "My folks and I don't see eye to eye. Let's just say they have their ideas about life, and I have mine," he explained, a shadow crossing his face. I chose not to delve deeper. We all have our stories, our scars. As the evening drew to a close, I found myself not wanting it to end. There was something about Walter that made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. Life with Walter felt like a whirlwind, each day brimming with new adventures and shared laughter. He had a unique way of making ordinary moments seem magical, transforming simple dinners into memorable nights. "Walter, I still can't believe how quickly everything is moving," I shared with him one evening as we sat in our favorite cafe, bathed in dim light and surrounded by cozy corners. He reached across the table, taking my hand. "Stephanie, when something feels right, why wait? I've never been more certain of anything in my life," he replied, his gaze intense, sending a thrill through me. "I know, it's just everything's happening so fast. It's a lot to take in," I confessed, the whirl of emotions evident in my voice. He squeezed my hand reassuringly. "I get it, but trust me, Stephanie. I'm here for the long haul. I want to build a life with you, a future together." I was excited about our future, especially as Walter spoke about our wedding day with such fervor and imagination. He envisioned a ceremony that would be the talk of the town, a spectacular, lavish celebration of our love. "Imagine it, Stephanie," he said with sparkling eyes, "a ceremony that no one will forget. It's going to be perfect." As he spoke, my heart raced with excitement and a bit of nervousness when he brought up the honeymoon plans. "You mentioned something about the most luxurious hotel in the world?" I asked, my voice tinged with both curiosity and caution. His smile broadened. "Yes, it's all part of the plan. I need you to trust me. Your savings for the wedding, my funds for the honeymoon, and our future home, it will all come together." Despite the practical side of me screaming for caution, Walter's eyes, full of love and promise, convinced me to agree. Okay, Walter.
Let's do it. Let's make this wedding unforgettable. As the weeks sped by, wedding preparations became our world. Walter, ever the man of action, managed every detail with precision, from the guest list to the opulent menu, ensuring our day would be spectacular. Watching him work with such passion and commitment, I fell even deeper in love. Walter, you're incredible. How you handle everything. I don't know how to thank you, I told him one evening as we went over the plans. He pulled me close, his embrace enveloping me. Seeing you happy is all the thanks I need, he whispered. This wedding is just the start. Our life together will be even more beautiful. Yet, amidst the excitement, moments of doubt occasionally whispered in my ear. Was everything moving too fast? Was I being swept up by the romantic whirlwind? Whenever these thoughts arose, Walter's reassuring words were there to steady me, his promises anchoring me amid my sea of uncertainties. With the wedding details filling every day, I knew I needed my sister Amy by my side. Since losing our parents, it had been just the two of us against the world, and her opinion meant the world to me now more than ever. I called her, hoping she could take a break from the cafe she managed. Hey, Amy, think you can ditch the aprons and coffee smells for some tulle and satin today? I half joked, my voice hopeful. Her laughter, light and familiar, came through the phone. For you, sis, I'd trade coffee stains for bridal trains any day. Give me an hour to wrap things up here, and I'm all yours. The bridal shop was a dreamland filled with gowns of white and ivory, each dress flowing like cascades of lace and silk. As I tried on various dresses, Amy's presence grounded me. When I stepped out of the dressing room in a gown that felt just right, she was the first to react. That one, Stephanie, it's like it was made for you, she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Looking at my reflection, the dress hugged my curves and flowed to the floor in a graceful flurry of fabric. You think? I feel, I don't know, like a real bride, I admitted, a smile spreading across my face. Amy's grin was just as wide. Absolutely, you look stunning. This is the one. Her approval was all I needed to feel certain about my choice, reinforcing that amidst the whirlwind of preparations, some things, like the bond with my sister, remained my steady foundation. During a brief moment, I noticed a shadow briefly cross Amy's expression, subtle yet unsettling. Before I could ask her about it, she sprang up, plucking a dress from the rack. Mind if I try this one on, just for fun? Amy chirped, her fingers caressing a gown that shimmered with every move. I chuckled, a sound that mingled surprise with delight. Planning to elope, or is there a mystery beau you've not told me about? I teased. Amy's laughter, usually carefree, carried a trace of something elusive. Oh, Stephanie, you know how it is. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But a girl can dream, right? She said with a wink, although her eyes darted away, concealing something. The day unfolded with laughter and the soft rustle of silk, yet Amy's mood seemed to oscillate unpredictably. Her typically vibrant personality is occasionally overshadowed by moments of distraction. Everything okay, Amy? You seem distracted, I inquired softly, my concern weaving through my words. She brushed off my worries with a dismissive wave. It's nothing, just the usual cafe chaos, you know, Amy reassured me, but her smile faltered, failing to reach her eyes. As we left the bridal shop, the burden of her unspoken secrets cast a shadow over us, creating a tension that was hard to navigate. I hoped it was mere pre-wedding jitters or perhaps a minor squabble with a difficult customer. Yet, a persistent feeling nagged at me, suggesting it was more profound. That evening, as I lay in bed, my excitement about the dress was dimmed by the enigma of Amy's recent behavior. She had always been transparent with me, yet now it seemed there were chapters I hadn't read, words hidden from view. With the wedding approaching, my usual joy was clouded by unease. Amy and I had weathered many storms together,
But now a chasm seemed to be forming, filled with secrets and unspoken questions. Unbeknownst to me, the answers to these questions would soon turn my world upside down. It began as an ordinary day until I noticed Walter had left his phone unattended on the kitchen counter, buzzing with incessant notifications. Curiosity overcame me, and to my astonishment, there was no password. Nothing, however, could prepare me for the shock concealed in his messages. The exchange between Walter and Amy struck me like a physical blow, each message a betrayal slicing through my heart. They were not just having an affair, they were plotting to sideline me, as if I meant nothing, as if our years of friendship were trivial. Tears blurred my vision as I read Amy's message about her pregnancy with Walter's child. "Can't believe we pulled this off. She's such a fool, falling for every lie, and now, with the baby, we can finally be together as we planned," she had written. The room seemed to spin, a merry-go-round of deceit and betrayal. Walter's responses were just as crushing, declaring his love for Amy and his anticipation of seeing me disgraced and removed from my wedding. "She's just a naive cash cow. Can't wait to be rid of her and start our real life," he wrote. I sat frozen, the phone heavy in my hand, a tempest of emotions swirling within me: betrayal, anger, disbelief. Yet among these, a steely resolve began to form, a cold determination to confront this deceit head-on. They thought they could manipulate me and discard me like a used-up toy. But they had another thing coming. They were about to learn never to underestimate Stephanie Anderson. When Walter strolled in, his easygoing demeanor felt like an insult. "Hey, babe, did I miss any important calls?" he asked, picking up his phone nonchalantly. I masked my inner turmoil with a smile. "Nope, just the usual busy day," I replied, my voice calm though I felt anything but. He flashed that charming smile, the one I now realized was just a facade. "But nothing's more important than coming back to you," he said, leaning in for a kiss. I nearly recoiled, but I controlled myself. From that moment, I played the perfect fiancé. I smiled, nodded, and went through the motions of wedding planning. But underneath that, I was brewing a storm of revenge. Every day was a battle to maintain my composure while plotting against the two who had wronged me so deeply. I was determined not to let them see me crumble. I would wait for the perfect moment to reveal their betrayal. Each night, as I lay in bed, the images of Walter and Amy's deceitful faces haunted me. I silently vowed that they would pay dearly for their actions. Their twisted game was going to be their undoing. I had transformed from the jilted fiancé to the mastermind of their downfall. My plan for revenge was meticulous, calculated, and destined to be devastatingly sweet. The days leading up to the wedding were surreal. On the surface, everything appeared perfect: the flowers, the guest list, the dress. But beneath this facade was a tempest of anger and betrayal that I kept tightly controlled. Walter remained blissfully ignorant, all smiles and affection. "Stephanie, everything's coming together so beautifully. This wedding is going to be the talk of the town," he remarked one evening as we looked over the final plans. I nodded, my smile practiced and polished. "Yes, it's going to be a day to remember," I agreed, my words heavy with hidden meaning. Facing Amy was more challenging. The sister I had once loved and protected now felt like a stranger, her every word and action a reminder of her betrayal. Yet I kept up my facade, the mask of a loving sister, blissfully unaware of the knife she had plunged into my back. "Stephanie, you're handling everything so well. I don't know how you do it," Amy commented one day as we finalized the seating arrangements. I looked at her, the sister I thought I knew, and forced a laugh. "Oh, Amy, you know me, always had a knack for organizing chaos," I replied, the irony of my words not lost on me. As the wedding day drew closer, the tension became almost palpable. I walked this tightrope with precision and care. Walter's phone was now always guarded, his conversations more hushed and hurried, but it didn't matter. I had seen enough and knew enough. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and bright, a beautiful day for a beautiful disaster. As I got ready, the reflection in the mirror showed a bride serene and poised, but behind the veil and makeup was a woman on a mission, a woman who would no longer be a pawn in someone else's game. "Amy is running late, huh?" Walter remarked casually, adjusting his tie. I met his gaze in the mirror, my eyes giving nothing away. "Yes," I replied simply, ready to let the day unfold. Stephanie assured me she wouldn't miss the event for anything in the world. Her absence was unthinkable, even as I spoke the words with a twofold implication. He, however, seemed to miss the underlying tones and nodded, acknowledging Stephanie's somewhat whimsical nature. "But today is about us, Stephanie."
"It marks a fresh start for us," I said, turning to face him with a smile that was a perfect display of poise. "Indeed, Walter, a new beginning," I responded, my heart bracing for the impending upheaval. As I made my way down the aisle, the watchful eyes of our friends and family upon me, I could sense the pivotal moment arriving. The quiet that had enveloped my life was about to erupt into a storm. The ceremony awaited, the guests' attention was captured, and the scene was perfectly set. It was time for hidden truths to emerge and for the real drama to unfold. Standing next to Walter in front of the officiant, my heart wavered between hope and anxiety. The vows floated between us, a promise of eternity seemingly doomed to break spectacularly. The guests, oblivious to the looming tempest, watched us with smiles and misty eyes. Then, the unforeseeable struck. Amy donned a wedding dress mirroring mine and marched down the aisle with a resolve that froze my blood. "Step aside, Stephanie. It's me who truly belongs here. Walter loves me, and this child I carry is his," she announced, her voice slicing through the stunned quiet. The room descended into murmurs and gasps of shock and disbelief. Rather than express any shock or remorse, Walter burst into laughter, revealing his true nature behind his polished exterior. "Well said, Amy. Stephanie, you've played your part well, but it's time you joined the audience. This is Amy's moment now," he declared, his words dripping with scorn. The audacity of their betrayal, so openly displayed, sent ripples through the gathered crowd. Yet, as the gravity of the situation dawned on everyone, my response took all by surprise, myself included. I turned to Walter and then Amy, offering a serene smile. "Of course, why not? I wouldn't want to miss the spectacle, especially since I funded it," I remarked, my tone cool, betraying none of the chaos within. Amy and Walter exchanged puzzled looks, not anticipating such a collected reaction. The guests were equally perplexed, their eyes flicking between us, trying to grasp the surreal turn of events. As I settled among the guests, my composure intact, the whispers around me intensified. "What's she planning? Is she going to let this happen?" The questions buzzed incessantly, but I remained tranquil, a pillar of calm amidst the unfolding chaos. Walter and Amy, now together at the altar, appeared unsettled. My tranquil demeanor had disrupted their scheme to humiliate and discard me. "What's your angle, Stephanie? Why are you so calm?" Walter inquired, his tone a mix of curiosity and unease. I met his gaze, my smile unflinching. "No angle, Walter. I'm merely enjoying the fruits of my labor. Please continue. I'm keen to see how this unfolds," I responded, my words a silken yet piercing retort. The ceremony resumed amidst a changed atmosphere. The guests remained riveted, caught between astonishment and anticipation, unsure if they were attending a wedding or the prelude to a dramatic confrontation. As Amy and Walter exchanged vows, the words rang empty, a farce of the sacred pledge they were meant to uphold. As I sat among my friends and family, all equally baffled by the unfolding drama, I realized this was merely the start of what promised to be a spectacular unraveling. Amy and Walter, blinded by their hubris, were unknowingly seated at the premiere of their downfall. Just as the officiant asked if there were any objections to the marriage, the doors flew open. A woman, appearing significantly older and more weathered than Walter, stormed in, her eyes alight with fiery determination. "Stop this wedding immediately," she commanded, her voice cutting through the stunned silence. Walter's complexion drained to a ghostly white, his expression morphing from shock to disbelief. "Helen, what are you doing here?" he faltered, the facade of the perfect groom crumbling away. Helen, as I had recently discovered, was none other than Walter's legal wife. She marched to the altar, declaring, "I'm here to prevent you from embarrassing yourself further and misleading everyone here. Stephanie, you especially deserve the truth," she said, turning towards me with a look of empathy. The guests buzzed with whispers, the scandal unfolding before them more captivating than any daytime drama. Amy, clutching her stomach in shock, watched as Helen continued, her tone unwavering. "Walter is a charlatan and a fraud. He's drowning in debt, his investments have collapsed, and he's been exploiting all of you to claw his way out of financial ruin. And Amy, you poor thing, you're just another piece in his deceptive puzzle." The room burst into uproar, guests rising from their seats as the whispers turned to shouts. Walter attempted to speak, but his feeble excuses were lost in the chaos. I stood, my heart racing yet my voice firm. "There's more," I announced, instantly quieting the crowd. After suspecting Walter's infidelity, I hired a private investigator. Not only is Walter already married and buried in debt, but he has also concealed the existence of a daughter he has never supported. Amy's face crumbled, the harsh reality descending upon her. "Walter, tell me she's lying," she begged, her voice cracking under the strain. Walter, now utterly defeated, remained silent, his deceptive double life exposed for all to see. But the climax was still to come. As the crowd digested these bombshells, Walter's parents, stern and imposing figures, entered the room. I had informed them of everything, and now they were here to face the son who had disgraced their family. Walter's father, typically reserved yet now incensed, declared with a resonant tone of disappointment and anger, "Walter, you are no son of mine. Your actions today and previously reveal your true character. You are cut off from our family and our wealth." As a heavy silence fell, I surveyed the scene. Walter, Amy, and their shattered illusions built on deceit. The sting of betrayal pulsed through me, yet standing amid the ruins of what should have been my happiest day, I knew my story was far from over. In the days that followed, I found myself navigating the stark corridors of the courthouse, seeking compensation for the turmoil Walter had caused. The courtroom, a stark contrast to the church, turned my agony into cold, hard legal terms. "Walter, you've not only broken promises but shattered trust and exploited kindness. You owe much more than apologies," I concluded, prepared to fight for justice and closure. In the hushed courtroom, I stood resolute, my voice firm as I declared, "You owe me more than an apology, Walter. You owe me compensation for turning my life upside down." The judge's gavel struck, resonating like thunder through the silent tension, sealing the verdict. "The court finds in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is hereby ordered to pay $90,000 in damages for the emotional distress and financial losses inflicted," he pronounced, his words offering a soothing balm to my frayed spirits. As I stepped out of the courtroom, the weight of the past few months seemed to lift slightly. Justice had been served, yet I knew the path to healing was only just beginning. Walter's troubles didn't end with the court's verdict. Helen, his legal wife, fueled by her pain and anger, initiated a legal battle of her own, seeking reparations for his betrayal and neglect of their child. Walter, once suave and adept at manipulation, found himself ensnared in a web of his deceit, his falsehoods finally catching up with him. Meanwhile, Amy, my sister, and once the person I cherished above all, was left isolated and abandoned. Walter had deserted the city, leaving her alone to deal with the fallout of their deeds. Pregnant and frightened,
She was a shadow of the lively and joyful girl she once was. One day, Amy approached me, tearful and desperate. "Stephanie, I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but I'm lost and don't know what to do," she pleaded. I looked at her, the sister I would have once done anything for. "Amy, you were my family, my blood, but what you did, it's not something I can simply forget or forgive. You chose your path and now you must walk it just as I am walking mine." The divide between us was more than just physical. It was a chasm filled with betrayal and pain, too profound and vast to ever bridge again. Life moved on, but the scars from those tumultuous months lingered. I focused on rebuilding my life, finding solace in the simple joys I had once cherished. I had loved and lost, trusted and been betrayed, but through it all, I had endured. As I reflected on everything that had transpired, I realized that the most significant journey was the one unfolding within me. A journey of healing, of rediscovering my strength, and of learning to trust and love once more.